The White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce and On Location TV19 are proud to present Your Business Matters, dedicated to your business needs. The White Bear Area Chamber is a nonprofit business organization serving as an advocate for the White Bear area and its business community. Now, here is the Executive Director of the White Bear Area Chamber and the host of Your Business Matters, Tom Snell.
I want to welcome you to Your Business Matters, brought to you by the White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce. Each month, we interview community leaders and local business owners so you can be informed about the developments in our community. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Ken Galloway, a financial planner for Principal Financial. However, the reason for Ken's visit is to discuss the exciting Rotary-inspired event coming up this winter called the Barely Open. The Barely Open is a premier charitable fundraising event, and each year, the Barely Open raises thousands of dollars that go directly to help local charities and other worthy causes sponsored by the White Bear Rotary.
Morning,
Ken,
Tom.
thank you so much for coming to interview with us here at the Chamber program.
You're welcome.
The first thing I really want to ask you is, what makes the White Bear Rotary special?
Well, what makes the White Bear Rotary special, Tom, is the people that comprise the White Bear Rotary. We've got a fantastic organization, and our motto is, as you know, service above self.
Right. And that's great. And one of the things, so you raise a lot of money for the local community, right?
We do.
For local charitable operations in our area. And my understanding is that money goes directly to charity. There's no strong administrative fees that go along with that. Is that correct?
That's correct. With our White Bear Rotary Club, we have what's called the White Bear Lake Rotary Foundation.
Okay.
So all of our fundraising efforts go into the White Bear Foundation.
Yeah.
None of the costs of running the club or the organization come out of the foundation.
Okay.
So everything that the foundation raises goes to support the charitable causes that we support around the community and around the world. So we have international and local.
And we'll talk a little bit about that, some of the various things that the foundation funds. But I want to be real clear. So the money that the foundation raises goes directly to help these projects. It doesn't go to pay for somebody's administrative fees.
That is correct.
That's almost unique, I think, in the world of charitable fundraising.
Well, that's one of the things that makes Rotary, as you said, special. Right.
Now, you have a couple of special events that you do each year, and the one that's coming up is called the Barely Open. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Two of the more visible charitable fundraising events we do in the community would be the Taste of White Bear Lake, which we do in the fall,
right,
and the Barely Open, which is our golf tournament on ice, which I know you're familiar with.
Right.
The Barely Open is in its 9th year this year.
9th year.
Right. And all of the money we raise from the Barely Open goes to support the White Bear Lake Food Shelf, where the need has certainly never been greater, unfortunately.
Really?
That is correct, yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Can you
Certainly.
About why it's so important to fund the local food shelf?
Certainly. The White Bear Food Shelf, most people are familiar with, does great work. And just to give you some idea of the need that's out there, this year we're going to distribute about 450,000 pounds of food or more to people in need in our community, our neighbors. In our school district, about over 5,000 people are food insecure. That's about 7% of our population. We've got about 190 youth in the White Bear community that are homeless. A lot of people don't know about that.
That is an issue here then.
It is an issue that most people don't know about or talk about. And the reason I bring that up in conjunction with the food shelf is, in addition to helping our neighbors in need, we also have outreach programs at the food shelf. So we help people find other resources when they come for food, whether it be people that are homeless, people that need to learn how to get enrolled in the SNAP program, things of that nature. So it just kind of accentuates why the food shelf is such a valuable community asset.
One of the things that I find really attractive about venues like the Barely Open is that like you said, it's helping a local charity, and all the money goes in, but it's also a fun event, right?
Right. I mean, we had two purposes when we
Yeah.
when we started the Barely Open. It was a project of our Rotary Club.
So it was thought up by the Rotary Club here.
That is correct. It came out of our Community Services Committee after some brainstorming, actually, about 10 years ago. And so we had two goals. One was to support a charitable endeavor, and the other was just create a good community-building, fun event,
Okay.
which the Barely Open has become.
Yeah. So, and how much money typically does the Barely Open raise then for the food shelf?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because, again, one of the key statistics we like to make people aware of is the fact that when you donate cash to your local food shelf, their purchasing power is 8 times. So, in other words, what you could donate $8 worth of food, or you could give $1 and the food shelf would be able to purchase the same amount of food through their purchasing power.
So when you give to the Barely Open, you're like giving cash
Right.
directly to the local food shelf.
Right. So, just to give you an example, so far the Barely Open has raised about $95,000 in cash, which translates into about $770,000 worth of food purchased.
Wow.
And our near-term goal is to get to $1 million worth of food purchased. So that is the goal that we are putting out there to the community right now. May get there this year, definitely by next year.
Okay, so you bring out these people to participate, and typically how many golfers? What is the event? Is it a golf tournament?
Right. We call it golf on ice. We don't call it a tournament because what we've found is that scares some people away that think you need to know how to golf. And go to our website, barelyopen.org, go to our Facebook page. You'll see that it's not a serious golfing event. It's a fun event for the community to gather. We actually use tennis balls.
Oh, so you don't use little golf balls?
No. So we actually make a golf course on the ice. The city of White Bear Lake is fantastic in helping us get out there and plow out this course. We take recycled Christmas trees, we drill holes in the ice, we plant trees all over the ice. So we've got a couple hundred Christmas trees out there on the lake. And we actually map out an 18-hole golf course. And people come out and they use golf clubs, hockey sticks.
Hockey sticks?
I've seen tennis rackets. I've seen lacrosse paddles. And they hit the tennis balls around. And we have holes. We have a green on every hole. We have a hole drilled with an actual flag in it. Some people like to play an 18-hole round and keep their score. Most people just go out and have fun and visit with members of the community.
Can I, on that, I'd like to ask you, so you have sponsors, right? People that can sponsor the Barely Open.
And that's how we do raise most of our funds. We have signature sponsor. Alexis of Maplewood has been our signature sponsor since our first year. We have event sponsors, hospitality sponsors. We call them our key sponsors.
Sure.
And interestingly, and I was just informed this morning that we've picked up another key event sponsor. We brought back every sponsor this year, and we've picked up 3 additional key sponsors, which is unprecedented. So clearly the community is getting behind this event.
Now about the sponsorship, I just want to ask this real quickly. You've got this event that raises money for the food shelf. You've got all these people that come to golf. You get a sponsorship or you're a whole sponsor.
Right.
Does that mean that your business then can connect with all of these people that come to participate in this program?
Right. And again, we've got all these key sponsors who are just financial donations, and then we also have our whole sponsors. And typically we get 21, 22 hole sponsors every year for 18 holes, which means, as you can see, there's a demand. People see the value for their business, but mainly the businesses that sponsor the holes, everybody likes to network, everybody likes to get exposure. But in talking to the business owners that do these sponsorships, clearly they're doing it because they have big hearts. And they want to support the White Bear Lake Food Shelf. White Bear is an amazing community. We support a lot of great causes. But as a board member of the food shelf myself, what I've seen is this community really gets behind our food shelf.
Absolutely. But I wanted to bring that up because you're doing something to directly affect and help the community through supporting our local food shelf efforts, but at the same time, you're getting valuable exposure for your business to the people that participate, and also showing that the business community has some real engagement with some of the issues that are affecting our area.
Absolutely, and let me tell you some of the benefits to the companies that do sponsor holes at the Open. You're going to be on our website, your logo's on our website, your logo's on our Facebook page. That's seen by hundreds and hundreds of people.
Right.
We send out email blasts. At the event itself, you are exposed to about 300 golfers, 50 volunteers, media, passers-by. We do a couple of newspaper ads where you're mentioned, tons of exposure, tons of goodwill, and it's amazing. The sponsors every year we always have a handful of new whole sponsors, and they all come up to me at the event and say, "Wow, this is the greatest thing! I can't believe I haven't done this before." And
wonderful.
And so again, it just keeps growing and growing.
That's great. Well, Ken, we will take a brief break so that we can continue this discussion. So please stay with me. Talked a little bit about the volunteerism for it.
Oh, sure. Great topic.
Yep.
Again, one of the things that makes this event such a great event for the community and enjoyable for me is the ability we have to get so many great volunteers to help in our effort. It starts with our committee. And we have a great committee. We actually start meeting in September every year.
Wow.
And we work on the event well past the completion. So there's actually work that goes on into March sometimes with follow-up, that sort of thing. But we have a committee that meets at the City Hall on Friday mornings.
Okay.
And if anybody would like to join us, they can certainly contact me through barelyopen@gmail.com.
Okay.
But anyway, so this committee gets going, and again, it's a fun group of community leaders, community volunteers that really have a passion for our cause. So that's one of the activities of being a volunteer. There's many duties, in terms of finding sponsors and logistics and getting, materials printed, those sorts of things, planning the event. As far as volunteering the week of the event, it's basically 3 days that volunteers can be involved. We start with Thursday, which is my least favorite of the days, and that's the day that we're standing out on the ice, mapping out the course and working with the city to get things plowed out and that sort of thing. So that's how we start, and then we go into Friday and Saturday, which is where most of our volunteers are involved. We actually have a community dance on Friday night.
Oh, you do?
That we haven't talked about.
Kind of as a prerequisite to the event.
Right. A few years ago, we decided we want to stretch this thing out, have a little more fun. So we have a community dance at the White Bear Country Inn. Bill is always so gracious to offer us his facility.
Good.
And we have a rock and roll band, and so we have a silent auction.
And again, the White Bear Country Inn is right off of 7th Street and Highway 61.
That's correct, right. Rudy's Red Eye Grill.
Yep.
And so we have a lot of volunteers that have to put on this dance. We have a silent auction. We have a prize drawing. People can register for the event. We have a great rock and roll band. This year it's called the Wildcat Combo. And we have a lot of fun. So volunteers are involved in that.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's Saturday, the day of the event. A lot of activities. That's where we have, sometimes 30 or 40 volunteers that have to pull this thing off the day of. So there's getting out there, bright and early in the morning, setting up the course, putting up the signs, making sure the trees are up. Friday afternoon, I should back up. Friday afternoon, we're out on the ice.
Yep.
And that's when we're drilling the holes, putting up the trees, putting up the tents. And what's nice about it is if you don't like the cold all that much, you don't have to be out there that long.
Yeah, well, and if you have a booth, they have the warmers inside, but the long-range forecast for February, the first week in February in 2016 shows that the day of the Barely Open, it's supposed to be 29 degrees, sunny with no wind. So it's going to be an absolutely perfect day for the Barely Open for this year.
And that's surprising. That's what I heard too.
Yeah, so
it's going to be a great day. Last year, I think it was 34 degrees and sunny.
Yes, it was
we had
incredible.
A fabulous day.
Yep.
This year, we also have the art shanty returning. So
wow, the same time period almost.
February 6th will be the first day of the art shanty, and it'll be the day of the Barely Open, the day before the Super Bowl. And so there'll be a lot of activity. It'll be a carnival-like atmosphere. And again, as far as what the volunteers do, the volunteers are out there handling all these logistics. We have course marshals that direct people. We have a hospitality tent with heat and food, and we have volunteers in there greeting people. Winter Carnival royalty always shows up, and with all the all the festivity that they bring with them.
So but this is an event that you can go out and golf and eat and have fun. And I know a lot of the booths provide free food and beverages, and it's really quite an opportunity.
Yeah, we have great whole sponsors that set up tents and a place to. There's bonfires, place to get warm, some refreshments, prizes, giveaways, and everybody. It's amazing how much fun people can have in an event like this. And we've had some cold days, and yet it hasn't dampened the enthusiasm at all.
And then I know that the Rotary Club, I wanted to get back to some of the other things that the White Bear Rotary does. I know that they're involved in yet another program in the fall at the Pine Tree Apple Orchard. And can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, that's the Taste of White Bear Lake, and that is our major fundraiser for the White Bear Rotary Club, for the Rotary Foundation. That's where we raise most of the money that we raise to fund our programs for the entire year. And that's all the community projects we do, whether it be supporting the Boy Scouts or the food shelf, international projects, water wells in India, Africa, whatever the project may be. Anything that's funded by our charitable arm is done through the foundation. The Taste of White Bear Lake is a really cool event where people come out. Local area restaurants, we get 22 restaurants will come out and sample some of their fare. We get several beer and wine vendors out there, and it sells out every year. It is the place to be if you're a foodie in White Bear Lake. And as I said, that is our major fundraiser. That's where almost all of the funds that we use to fund our charitable and community activities comes from that event.
Now, some other things too about the Rotary when we talk about the international work that Rotary does, because White Bear Rotary doesn't just look at local things, but they take a worldview, I think would be a fair thing to say.
Right. The organization is Rotary International.
Right.
So again, part of being a Rotary Club is you are a community service organization. As I said, our motto is service above self. However, we also have a commitment to international.
Right.
So probably the most notable project that the Rotary International has taken on in the last 20, 30 years is the eradication of polio.
It's almost done.
It's almost done. As they say, we're this close. There's 2 countries left in the world where polio is still being recorded. That's Pakistan and Afghanistan.
And those are the couple of the countries that are probably hard to get people into.
Difficult because of the political and the geography. And but we're really close, and that's, again, so when you think of Rotary, you think of eliminating polio from the face of the earth. That is a Rotary project.
Absolutely. That's an incredible thing. Then I know also that Rotary was involved, I think, with the big earthquake in Nepal last year, too. I think that Rotary International.
Rotary International gets involved in a lot of these natural disasters around the world. We have a program called Shelter Box that actually is done by a Rotary Club in England, where we actually provide shelter for people that are victims of such disasters. Right.
Wow. This is all done by volunteers almost.
Everything Rotary does is volunteers, and it's clubs like ours going out and raising money and doing good deeds. What makes Rotary, another thing that makes us special, I think, is we're not about writing checks necessarily.
Yeah.
We give cash donations to various things,
Yep.
but our club is a hands-on organization. So again, service above self. What we do is we go out in the community and the world, and we provide people power. We provide hands-on to help make these projects successful.
One more final question, then we'll have to conclude the program. But I wanted to ask you too about young people, because Rotary also brings in a lot of young folks from around the world to stay with local families.
Right. Again, one of the major components of Rotary is our youth exchange programs, right? And so we send youth out to different countries. We bring youth in. So our club every year has a student from somewhere around the world that comes to see what America is like. And I tell you, I've been in Rotary a long time now. It's amazing to me to see people that come from other parts of the world that have a perception of what America is.
Yeah.
And when they leave, that perception is totally different.
Great.
And it's totally positive, and it's a great ambassadorial program.
Well, thank you, Ken, for the update that we have on the Barely Open and all the great things that Rotary White Bear does for our community.
My pleasure.
Yep. Thank you, Ken Galloway, for joining me today. I'm Tom Snell. Thank you for watching Your Business Matters, and have a happy holiday.
For more information on this program or the White Bear Area Chamber, visit whitebearchamber.com or call 651-429-8593.